Nice House by the Sea, issue 6, James Tynion the fourth, writing with Alvaro Martinez Bueno on the R. So, the cliffhanger last issue was that Alex was here to talk to Nora, and this issue fulfills that meeting, although it doesn't start immediately with that. It actually starts with a little bit of like setting up for, again, like what this Alex and Nora relationship was, by focusing a little bit on the other character who was like at the time it was Norm's Nick's girlfriend, and kind of like this specter of sorry, I keep saying Alex, it's a Max and that.
Yeah, I got very confused because outside of Norm and Walter, I kind of just know them as what they do.
Yeah, there's so many names. I just I got a different name with an X at the end. Sorry. Yeah. So Max.
I was like, wait. Yeah, I was like, I don't want to correct him but wait, it's definitely Max.
No, I just it was dawning on me as I was saying it a few times. Now, so this specter of Max that lingered after the breakup, and we find out some of the context here because, like, you know, the new girlfriend really wanted to know and asked Oliver, "Hey, what went on? Like, it seems like it was bad," and he kind of just eventually admits that Max got kind of mean and said that that Nora was too boring and would never be special and all that. And it kind of just sets up kind of like the weight of this relationship at the start of the issue. And we have these like pages throughout where one's like an IM chat where it's clearly Nora trying to talk to Max after the breakup. And then there's multiple emails that are spread out throughout the years. And it's kind of interesting because they're kind of desperate at first or drunk or whatever. And then the last one's a lot more solidified. And this ended up being like a really interesting issue exploring Nora's like transition as a person, as a trans person, because it very much focuses on this idea of Max thinks humans suck, or I mean that's simplifying it a bit, but doesn't think that humans could ever become better or really change. And the idea that this person, Nora, literally changed and became someone else that was like, and part of the reason why Norm, quote unquote, was unappealing was because clearly something wasn't quite right. This, you know, like Nora wasn't being who she was meant to be, and over the course of this change, became more true to herself and more confident. And in a weird way, it's actually inspired Max now in hindsight, where Max actually is very impressed by it and sort of sees Nora as far more important than ever. But in a weird way, it kind of helped get the thought process going back in the teen years of like where this was going for the character. So I thought this was kind of a sweet, like, but obviously there's a lot of like menacing like undertones and where things are going to go and why people are saying certain things. But the actual central part of this felt like a kind of a sweet exploration of a trans person to me.
Well, yeah, there's that, and I don't want to step on any of that too, but what stuck out for me was the difference between Max and Walter, and that Walter wants things to be like it was when he first met these people in high school and college, versus Max, who wants everybody to be exceptional. And it was here now that Max is experiencing Nora as the person they are now, going like, you know what, I was wrong, you are exceptional.
Yeah, you know, do you know what I think's so interesting about that little wrinkle though, is the idea that even though it's been kind of there the whole time, but having Max just state out loud, Walter wants you all to be the same as he was when he was a teenager, and he doesn't like change. He doesn't want people to change. He wants them in this bubble that's maintained, and that's what this version of the house is that you're all it's all the high school and college friends. But that's kind of interesting when you think it in the context of Nora as a trans person, because that's someone who has fundamentally changed since Walter was a teenager. And how like, so this idea that like even now Max, because obviously Nora's pissed at first with Max and says, oh, what do you want from me, like what's this is the first time they've spoken since being teenagers, and it's very heated, and it makes the end of the issue all the more impactful when Max says, hey, help me take down Walter and I'll give you whatever future the future you deserve, and you can be whatever you want, because, you know, I can literally just change the physical body. You can pick exactly who you want to be, and I'll give you whatever dream future you want. And Nora at the end says yes. Like, that's the cliffhanger at the end of this issue. And there was so much power in that, because like, oh no, you're falling for the X again. you're falling into the mirage, the promises.
Because as you're reading, you know, Norm to Nora's emails, right? it goes to from the hey, I want to talk to you. I think you're really cool. To like, I really need to talk to you. How come you're not responding? To all right, I'm over you. To you know what, I'm going to this thing with Walter. I just thought you would know. It's a shame that we haven't. So it was just like this whole. It got less desperate, and it's almost like the lack of desperation is what's drawn Max in now.
Well, it's interesting because obviously that means that. I mean, maybe Max would know anyway, but it was like, the idea that Nora told Max in an email, I'm going to this house with Walter. So Max would know what that means, and maybe that's how Max found out that Nora was at the other house. But what I really like, just from a comic writing perspective, is how like the writing changes in each of those emails, where it's not just like what Nora is saying, but like you can really tell that last one is so well like formed, and like the sentences are much better. They're clear. They're confident. It feels mature the way it's written versus some of the earlier emails, which sound like a desperate teenager or college student or a drunk person and just don't sound healthy at all. It's really interesting and well done.
And it's right. Nora was picked because they're the writer, right? That was when you look on the back page of what they represent, right? And so it also shows them coming into their own of who they really are, right? Is that Nora is who they want to be, and now they're able to write more eloquently and kind of explain how things are as they go because they're more comfortable with who they are. So I also like that aspect. Yeah,
that really sings in the wording in each email, as you can sort of feel that changing, which is really cool and really well done. And they debate a bit about the two houses, and effectively, Max kind of alludes to the idea that, the other house now knows that your house exists, and all they know is being the best. They don't think the way you do. So, and we see some of these scenes play out, and we basically see the house by the sea. The group are basically discussing and debating, okay, how do we kill this other house? How do we do it? And like, one woman's talking about how she compares it to like buying a company and then laying off all the employees. How you should do it by surprise. Like, don't let them think that you're going to like take their jobs away. Have it be like a sudden thing they can't react to.
It's more compassionate that way, is how she says it.
Yeah, sure.
If they know it's coming, they'll feel dread and they'll fight back. But if they don't see it coming, then it's actually better that way.
It's so funny that we started off with video game tangents tonight, because like video games keep having layoffs, and it's like this is constantly happening, and I couldn't help but think of that as this woman was trying to justify like, this is the humane tactic, to just not tell them, or like let them think everything's fine and they're keeping their jobs, and then just hit them with it. Like,
was that Cherry the pop star? Because she also compares it to, when you're going to a venue and they're hitting you with all these fees and whatever, you just skip them and then go to the other place, and then you eventually when you come back around, you'll take all of their business away, right? And that's what she compares this situation to, where it's like,
no, I think the pop star was the one who was against killing them, because
that's what I'm saying. Okay, so this was the other person then, because she's just like, well, if we play the long game, it's going to work out better for us, right? Because of this, like they probably don't even know about us, so if we just stay hidden here, we'll be fine, because
the sad part is when we see like some of the other characters. I think we see like, I think it's Reggie and Ryan, other characters, and they're just talking about love life stuff or whatever, but they start talking about the other house, and he's basically figured out a way to maybe get back there. He's like, hey, we just found out more people exist because we miss other people, because it's just been us 10. And they're basically, hey, don't you want to get to know them? They basically want to go and make friends. And this is coming like just after we've had scenes of the other house saying, how do we kill all these other people?
And then Max is also saying how tribal humans are and they can't help it. And that house, Nora, the house that you're at, you're only doing this to save them because that's who you identify with. But then you look at just how tribal the other house is, because they have to be exceptional. Well, so they have to destroy.
Yeah, but that's what really clearly defines the heroes and villains here. And it's maybe even proven that Walter might have been right in a weird way. That Walter, by picking a group of people who actually care about each other, has made people who don't instantly think about survival, their first thought is, let's go make friends with the other house. His house are acting, from an ethical point of view, more humane, and therefore I think to most readers would be, they are the better house, because they're acting like caring individuals. They're want to reach out and make friends. They want to do this, that. And then the other house, which is full of the quote unquote exceptional people, are like, no, we just have to kill so that we are the only ones that are left. We have to win no matter the cost. They're the ones that are less human. So obviously we don't know what metrics the alien race or whoever they are going to judge this contest. But I think in a weird way, this difference here, even though it's putting our main characters in danger because they don't know the threat of the other house and what they're going to try and do, it does kind of show that, maybe like in a weird way, maybe the villains will never realize this, maybe the aliens will never realize this, but I think to the audience, we're like, oh hey, Walter might have been right in the end. He actually built a house that was more sustainable because these people care.
Well, because Max does everything without emotion, whereas Walter's all emotion.
Yeah.
Right? So because Max even tells Nora that there has to be a winner. There can only be one. So whatever happens, it's not going to be good for one of the houses.
Yeah, and
then even after the experiment's over, what's going to happen then?
But it doesn't sound like... Yeah, but Max isn't convincing Nora, hey, work with me and I'll help your house win. It sounds like, no, you help me like take down Walter's house and I'll let you exist afterwards. Like that. So it feels like Nora's going to betray them here. And I think this also feels like, in the same way that Nora was so addicted to Max in her youth, this feels like someone returning to a drug that they've not had in a long time. It feels like they're like an addict who's breaking down and going back for a fix. Or they're being tricked by the allure of it again, at the very least. Right. So, yeah, the storytelling here was fantastic. This was so tight in how it did things, and all the emails, like, and how they were written, like, changing from the different age periods to the Nora right before they came to the house, I thought was really well done. It's good stuff. But it also makes Max feel like this super villain, because Max effectively uses who Nora is to sort of further manipulate her and say, hey, you help me, I'll do this because I think you are special. Like that thing you've been waiting to hear, because you wanted me to say that you actually are worth it. That's what you wanted me to say all those years ago, and you've waited like 20 years, and I'm finally saying it. I'm saying that you are special, that you are worth it, you are important. Now help me kill all your friends. Like that's the way this conversation went.
And now I'm just wondering if Nora's going to use this as the time to play Max now, right? Because we got to think like 20 years building of getting this person back, like not getting them back, like reuniting, but like, you know what? You screwed me up for, half my life. And you know what? It's not going to be this easy. So, we'll see.
I mean, we'll see. But I also think it works, though, if she is just falling for it. But, it's the tragedy of the person, like, falling down the same, mistakes.
I just feel that Nora's the closest thing to a main character we have, right? And so, unless this is her Breaking Bad moment, I don't mean like as the show. Like this is the moment where she flips. I mean, I don't think this is the type of book that has to adhere to simple hero villain dynamics. I can easily see the character that we've been the most sympathetic to, making tragic mistakes and it going badly. Like I can totally see that. Yeah. We see that too, and we know that death is on the table, right? Because the one character's died, as they were figuring it out. So
I mean, some of the characters we know are alive in a future of some kind.
Right, but that's what I'm saying is like their death is permanent at this point, right? Like if you die here, that's probably it. Like it's very hard to die there.
Yeah, only if the controls are switched to death. Right. I don't think they are right now. I don't think they left it on death mode. But yeah, like so there's lots of contextual circumstances for it. Yeah, just some nice little details in the art. The idea that they're out in the rain at the end, and like Chloe Max is making like a invisible umbrella for the rain to hit. Is really nice. And even the idea that there's a storm here that none of them caused, and it's because the other house is actually causing the storms. Also, just another detail that's worth mentioning because it's probably going to be important later.
Yeah, well, and it gives you a peek into that house that they picked this thing that looks like a big villa on the Mediterranean coast. Well, I don't know if they picked that or Max picked it.
I think Max picked it, but it's like... Yeah. But Max picked it for the people that were going, whereas... Because Max points out, Walter picked something that looked like it was maybe like 5 miles Wisconsin. From like where you all grew up. Like this is not this tropical paradise or anything.
Right. So, it looks like, 50 miles outside of anywhere in Wisconsin that they grew up. and stuff. So the fact that like, how does this layout work? Like, is there an actual unifying thing? Because how's a storm crossing through? That's, you know, from that house to this house.
I mean, I think
right?
it's just a case of like the person over that side who controls stuff has found a way to like control stuff in this side. Like I don't think it's crossing through per se. I think it's like they've hacked into the other computer basically.
Right, which is again, if you're controlling death and whatnot too, if you can make it that they only can die and you can't, you know.
That's like, a good point. I don't know.
A lot of stakes here.
I don't know if they have that option. I don't know if that's control they have, but we'll find out. I guess that because that'll definitely come into play if they do.
My only issue with this book, it was a lengthier read because every time I kept trying, I'd hit one of those walls of text and stuff. So as it was getting flowing through the art and whatever, you have this big wall of text that hits, which again, I'm not upset what the content was. It just kind of interrupted the flow. But when that's the only issue that I have with the book,
it's sort of thing
it's
where,
still pretty good. Like
I felt that a little bit the first one I hit, but by the time I got to the last one, it was so smart the way they changed with each one that I couldn't be mad at it. It was such a inspired choice. So that's Nice House by the Sea. It is bloody fantastic, and I guess Connor isn't up to date. Otherwise, you'd just be saying something.
I read the first issue and I was like, I'm going to enjoy this more as a trade. I made a conscious decision, knowing I was like going to be in and out with the show anyway, and I was like, Joe, what? I feel like I'm just going to enjoy this as one big solid read at the end of the however many issues it's going to be.
Well,
it's been pretty fantastic. So
so we're through 6 right now.
I was very intentionally zoning out of everything you just said because I don't want to know.
So we're at 6 now, and it doesn't look like there's anything solicited in the next 2 months.
Well, that's happened with the first book as well. There was a break
so I feel like this is the break point,
12, but...
and this is a hell of a cliffhanger now, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, all right, and obviously the art's phenomenal. We didn't talk about it too much, but it's always phenomenal. So, Matt, what are you giving Nice House by the Sea?
I'm gonna give this a 9.
9.5.